The Galaxy S24 is Samsung's entry-level compact flagship phone, and it has entered the market challenging its competitors. One of these competitors is, of course, Apple's iPhone 15, which was released in September last year. So we are here to pit these two against each other and figure out what they are all about. The differences between the two phones have mostly remained the same throughout the last few years. 3 versus 2 cameras, Android versus iOS, Apple's Bionic chipsets versus Qualcomm's Snapdragon. But this time around, Samsung has made two crucial changes that bring it more into the spotlight: a more intense focus on artificial intelligence and a massive widening of the software support window. For the first time in a while, it genuinely feels like the old experimental Samsung that we know and love has come back. And the contrast its S24 series creates with the more safe and familiar iPhone 15 is once again clearly visible. The Galaxy S24 and the iPhone 15 are somewhat similar to each other when it comes to size and weight, offering buyers a smaller flagship phone for a decent price. But the similarities don't end there this time around, as Samsung has made a significant shift by today's standards in the design of its non-Ultra phones, shaping them into more of a flat block of metal and glass instead of a smooth pebble. But don't worry, the S24 is not simply flat sides. A flat display and a flat back. The edges have a slight angle to them to make the phone more comfortable to hold. Protection-wise, both phones come with an IP68 water and dust resistance rating, which is the best you will get in a mainstream flagship phones at the moment. One thing that the iPhone 15 is known for is its slightly more durable glass, dubbed ceramic shield. The Galaxy S24 does come with the new Gorilla Glass Victus 2, but unlike the Gorilla Glass armor on the S24 Ultra, the Victus 2 is not said to offer that big of a jump in durability. So we venture to guess that the iPhone's protection is still slightly ahead in this case. Talking about display, the iPhone 15 has a display that is arguably one of the best on the market when it comes to image quality. That being said, there is one major downside that clearly places it behind when comparing it to Galaxy S24, or S23 for that matter, and that is its 60 Hz refresh rate. In contrast, the Galaxy S24 not only continues to rock a 120 Hz smooth display like its predecessor, but now also supports a 1 to 120 Hz variable refresh rate, which makes its display even more power efficient. Additionally, even though Apple upgraded the peak brightness with its latest iPhones, including the iPhone 15, which goes to 2000 nits, Samsung has equipped the S24 with an even brighter display that can reach 20,600 nits. This is one of those numbers that manufacturers try to bend the truth with, as the number given usually does not correspond to the overall brightness level of the screen. But tests show that the S24 is indeed way brighter than the iPhone 15. Other than the refresh rate and brightness, both phones have similarly sized OLED screens, which come with stellar contrast levels, color reproduction, and accuracy, as well as HDR performance. The Galaxy S24's screen can reach both higher and lower levels of brightness, which means you'll have an easier time seeing what's being displayed when it is bright, and it will be easier on your eyes in very dark conditions. Talking about performance, the Galaxy S24 comes in two variations regarding its processor, just like its predecessors did in 2022 and before that, and those are the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, 4nm for North America, or the Exynos 2400, 4nm for the rest of the world. Now keep in mind that history has shown the Snapdragon variants to be more capable and reliable, while the Exynos models usually come with some issues attached to them, such as lower power efficiency and/or performance. On the iPhone side, we have Apple's A16 Bionic, which is the same chipset that came with the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max last year. Just because it is 1 year older and not the latest from Apple does not mean it is incapable, though, as it still manages to be one of the top performers even a year later. One benefit with the S24 is the fact that its base storage starts at 256 gigabytes, while the iPhone 15 starts at 128 gigabytes. The S24 also has a bit more RAM than the iPhone 15, although given how differently both phones utilize this hardware, it is not really relevant in this case. Now, on the topic of software support, Apple had that as a major benefit for its phones for a long time. However, after Google announced that it will be supporting its flagship phones for 7 years straight from now on, Samsung seems to have taken that to heart, and now it will also support its flagships with 7 years of Android updates and security patches, starting with the S24. The S24 and iPhone 15 perform fairly at the same level as far as processing power goes. That being said, the Exynos 2400 that's inside our S24 unit beat iPhone 15's A16 Bionic by a significant margin. Regarding the camera, the Galaxy S24 comes with 3 cameras embedded in its back panel, like its predecessors. That includes the main, wide, an ultra-wide, and a dedicated 3x telephoto camera. The iPhone 15, on the other hand, does not have a telephoto and only comes with a 2x sensor crop as far as zooming is concerned. The Galaxy S24 also comes with new perks thanks to Samsung's new focus on artificial intelligence. Samsung says that AI has made its new flagship lineup more capable in low-light conditions thanks to advanced noise algorithms that result in a clearer image while taking photos and recording video. Colors are also more true to life with the S24's cameras, as Samsung has added a dedicated color tuning solution. Talking about the battery, the Galaxy S24 comes with a 4,000 mAh battery capacity, and the iPhone 15's battery is 3,349 mAh. Samsung said that battery life has improved, so we expect to see visible changes when we put it through our battery tests. Given that the Galaxy S23 beat the iPhone 15 in our browsing and video streaming battery tests by a small margin, we assume that gap will only become bigger. The question is whether it will close the approximately 2-hour difference in our 3D gaming test, which the iPhone 15 won. As for charging, both phones are advertised to charge up to about 50% in 30 minutes, with the exact wired charging speeds being left unspecified. We do know, however, that the wireless charging speeds for both phones max out at 15 watts. At the end of the day, the Galaxy S24 offers more for the money. You get a dedicated telephoto camera, better graphical performance, and smoother 120Hz display. The iPhone 15, on the other hand, produces sharper photos and is still an absolute beast when it comes to video recording. But things really boil down to the services and unique features the two phones come with. Are you more keen to try out the S24's AI features and make use of that telephoto camera? Or are you a fan of Apple's approach to software and the infamous Apple ecosystem? These are the main couple of questions you have to ask yourself before deciding which one to go with.